This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee Sharp, and welcome to this special edition of The Aware Show. Not special because of the way I'm talking. Yeah, I'm suffering from a little laryngitis. We'll get to that in just a moment because I got a wonderful guest here who's going to do all the talking for me. How about that? This is an Aware profile. We're glad you could join us. We're featuring Dr. David Gonzalez, who's earned a doctorate from New York University's School of Education, and for many years has worked as a music therapist. However, with his passion for the creative arts and an extraordinary talent for the gift of gab, he has become an award-winning actor, poet, storyteller, musician, playwright, educator, and public speaker. He is a cultural ambassador for the U.S. State Department. He was nominated for a Drama Desk Award for his theatrical masterpiece, The Frog Bride, and he has received numerous awards, too many to list. He appeared for 3 seasons at the Royal Theatre in London, and he's appeared at the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. He was also the host of a children's program that aired on WNYC for 8 seasons. Amazing. Whether appearing on stage or on television, David's creative genius is unmatched. From his foot-stomping Latin showcase to his multimedia performance commissioned by the Smithsonian, David's artistry of various cultures and his gift for storytelling is simply mind-blowing. He is literally a cultural chameleon. His versatility is endless, and you're gonna see it. Aware viewers, you're in for a real treat. David Gonzalez is in the house, and we are so thrilled to have him tonight as our special guest
Dee Dee,
on this Aware profile. Absolutely amazing.
So nice to be here.
We're excited to have you here.
It's a thrill.
And we're going to get a chance to show our viewers what we're talking about with all this amazing stuff that we just gave a list of your resume that's about this much when there's so much more to tell. So we'll just show them. How
That's
about that?
a good idea.
And better yet, we'll let you tell them because I can hardly talk. Right?
You got to take care of your voice for sure.
So tell me, David, we're going to get into some of your stuff in just a moment. Let our viewers see it. But for right now, I mean, to do what you do takes an amazing imagination and an amazing gift of being able to talk, speak, share, and it comes from a place of love, and it comes out that way. Tell us about how all this began for you.
It began because in my family, we had a round kitchen table, and whoever had the best story and the best delivery got the most attention. And then my uncle, Jose, made me a puppet theater when I was 7 years old. There was a lot of strife in my family. There was divorce but that little puppet theater was so important to me because I could hide down here and create a world up here. And I like to think of it as the curative power of the imagination to transform experience and things of beauty, of communication that I just fell into when I was quite young. Then I started drawing, and then I got into music. I didn't become a storyteller and a performing artist on the stage until I was out of college. But I've always had this sense that there's another possibility than the mundane. There's something out there to make life more beautiful. And I'm drawn to the arts. I go all the time. I'm always trying to be nourished by the great artists out there. Don't ask me anything about popular culture. I tend to not pay attention. I'm always looking for the juicy, interesting, weird stuff that feeds the imagination. And I've had phenomenal teachers and been blessed with that throughout my life.
How much of what you do is imagination versus your life's experience, what you've actually experienced?
You know, they go hand in hand. I was very lucky at a young age. I was, I think, 18 when I met my mentors in college who were musician therapists, artists, therapists. And my degrees are undergrad, master's, and doctorate are all in music therapy. And that's a discipline where creativity and community service go hand in hand. You use your music to help other folks. And in order to do that, you have to have self-knowledge. So a lot of group therapy and introspection and supervision on one hand, and a lot of creativity go together to create someone who can be effective with the arts in public service, community service. So they go, in my biography, I've been so fortunate to have great teachers who guided me in this integration of creativity and self-awareness. But listen, my work, I use my own experience, my woes, my sorrows, my joys as points of inspiration to write from, to create from. I just wrote a whole suite of music for the classical guitar based upon, an incident that happened in my life. And so you're asking the million-dollar question. Now, it could take us the whole hour to talk about it, but I think that's basically what I got on that.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
There are many other questions I'm going to talk with you about,
Sure.
but for right now, I don't want to keep our viewers waiting too long. I want to go ahead and give them an opportunity to begin looking at some of your work.
Cool.
We're going to begin with Sofrito,
Great.
an amazing storyline, an amazing piece of music, a lot of engagement, I think, of the audience, and a whole bunch of other things. I'll let you set it up, and then we'll roll the tape.
Sofrito is the sauce my grandmother makes before she put the beans and the chicken in. It's the base sauce in Caribbean
But
Latino.
you make it sound like a woman.
Well, let's not go there. And I use that word because in my show, it's a recipe with music, humor, dancing, and stories. And so we put it all together, and I got to collaborate with some of my musical idols, Larry Harlow, Yomo Toro, Adalberto Santiago, some of the great names in New York salsa.
Okay, very good. We're going to roll tape now. When
Cool.
we come back, we'll talk about it a little bit more.
Django shakes the magic shells on the ground, looks down, and he could tell the future. Now cast your line and reel it in. They cast the line and reel it in. They toss the net, they pull it in. They toss the net, they pull it in. So the next day I'm sitting at home having dinner and the doorbell rang. I open up the door, it's Tio Jose. And he dropped them on the ground with a great big sound.
Okay, that's just a snippet because we just wanted to tease you. A lot of energy, and as I mentioned, audience participation. Tell us a little bit more about Sofrito.
Sofrito is a collection of 4 stories and about 5 songs. And the idea here was to tell stories from my culture, Cuban, Puerto Rican, and La República of the Bronx, to audiences who would not normally hear that music, and audiences who love the music. So Larry and Yomo and Adalberto, they're superstars. And so folks who grew up with them were able to bring their generations, their grandkids and their kids to hear this music, but with the stories that made everybody kind of hear the music in new ways. And there was a dance number in it called, you gotta stir it up, you gotta mix it up, you gotta spice it up. It's kind of like a Macarena dance. But we had, over the course of that show, which ran for about 10 years, from Arkansas to Alaska to Florida, from all over the country, people were hearing this great Latin music and these beautiful stories from Latino culture in so many diverse cultures, so many diverse parts of the country. And you get it because the music is beautiful and we all love stories.
Wow, and all of that over sauce.
Over a sauce. And we would often put in the rider, we'd like to have some chicken and rice when we get there.
That's really awesome.
It's true.
We're going to just keep on because
Please,
there are
go
several
ahead.
other clips that we want to tell our viewers about. So we're going to go on to the next one. Okay. We're going to actually be seeing Wounded Splendor, and it's taking us in a totally different direction. And from what I understand with this is more about awareness of our environment.
Yes. This is the critical story of our time globally, is how are we going to care for the planet we inherited? And I'm a hiker. I live on a river. I have a deep appreciation for nature. And this was an opportunity to do a piece about the natural world. Wounded Splendor, the splendor of the natural world and the wounds that we've inflicted on it. And it was commissioned by the University of Maryland. And it's a suite of poems and stories and also verbatim interviews from folks who took care of rivers, ecologists, gardeners, It was about 90 minutes of, and I used a lot of interesting video design and text to not tell a story, but to give a sense of the awesome beauty of the natural world and some of the critical injuries that are being perpetrated and can be remedied. So it was a very important piece for me. There was also a strong educational component with that, a year-long outreach with middle school kids in inner city DC, many of whom who had never been in the natural world. And little by little, I was able to take them on these sojourns and to teach them how to meditate and walk in silence and to look at the sky and look at the river and to draw, to have a relationship and inspiration, the terror of it. You know, if you live in a box and you just watch a screen, to be out in truly the awe, the power of nature can be terrifying. But I helped guide these kids into an experience of appreciation with it. It was a profoundly beautiful time for me.
We've made our mark, burned a hole, traded gas and coal for the planet's soul. The wound is deep. The scar won't heal. The pain is real.
How you going down? Arrogance, rising waters. How you going down? Ignorance, acid rain. How you going down? How we going down? How? We going down.
All right, that was just a little snippet from Wounded Splendor. Definitely an education component and an awareness of our environment and what's going on with it. Dr. David Gonzalez with us here with an Aware profile. Dr. Gonzalez, what is it that you're hoping when you show that, that people will walk away with at the end of the day?
Wounded Splendor for me, gosh, there's what you didn't see in the clip, there was half of the show was about the beauty and majesty of nature too. So we did, for example, these morphs. So we see a rose that morphs into a daisy, which morphs into a lily. And this, there's a lot of beauty and things, underworld and the stars and fireflies. There's a lot of beauty in it. So partly it was a celebration of the simple experience, the profound and simple experience of being with the natural world. On the other hand, there was some pretty stinging, like that last bit with the text going up. It'll take 100,000 years for us to reabsorb the CO2 in the atmosphere right now. So this information that needs to be grappled with. And one of the things that art can do is to deliver information in ways that can be perhaps more impactful than rushing through a screen or reading through a page. Or here you have an artist on stage of compelling music, video design that creates an aesthetic experience that kind of charges the moment with a kind of artistic power, not for yay, it's beautiful, but to serve that educational mission, to wake us up. And we're all, in a struggle to solve the issues of our lives, to become who we need to be and who we are. It's hard to pull out and dedicate your time and energy to something else, a cause or whatever. So this was my effort to kind of raise up the flag that we need to take collective responsibility for the world we live in, for our children and for their children.
I love how you incorporate a little bit of everything, and even as our viewers have seen so far, you have the saucy, jazzy, hip, kind of way of delivering messages, but then by the same token, you use video imagery and you use even poetry and storytelling and just the arts. I don't know one that you haven't embraced.
Well, it's a great job for a schizoid personality.
Oh,
That's
whatever,
all I can say.
Whatever. and I think about all of the extraordinary talents that you possess and how you try to bring that over in what you do. And even going back to thinking about you being a music therapist and how you've become this performing arts wizard on stage with all these things that you're doing. How does that happen that you end up kind of living your own life and telling your own story about the things you want to share with others?
Well, it's a long story, and there's a lot of steps along the way. In a nutshell, music therapy was really the soul-building part of my life, because in that work, you're really face-to-face with someone in dire need. So I mostly work with kids with emotional traumas and kids far on the spectrum, as they say nowadays, people in psychiatric institutions, people with serious needs, and you have to be mano a mano, close up, but with art in the middle. So there's an immediacy and a power and engagement that's just beautiful and difficult. And it gave me a lot of, it's a workout, because it's day after day. You do 5-7 sessions a day, and I did that for almost 20 years, while I was also performing part-time. I had the support of my then wife, who had a full-time job, and then little by little I was able to experiment with doing performances, and then we raised our kids, and you know how it is, there's not a spare minute to play, but we supported each other to, she's also an artist, and we find a way to little by little cultivate the service work and the artistic work. Our marriage didn't work out, but we produced 2 beautiful children, and we had a great run. And I have to say that those formative years in my career were really supported by our mutual effort to pay the bills, do good work, and find an artistic voice. And I turned 60, and it's a long road, and freedom comes. Artistic freedom is a hard-won thing, but I've been on riding this horse. And somehow the trip keeps on going.
I was going to say, because a lot of artists, you'll talk with them and they'll say they're starving, but you seem to be doing okay. And the thing too that's amazing is you get to live your life on kind of your terms to some degree.
That is, I'm not rich, though I'm not rich with financially rich. I mean, I'm okay. I have a decent car and a sweet place to live, but I do have creative freedom. I have time to enjoy it. I have time to do the things that I love to do, to travel and to see the world and collaborate with really fascinating people. I just did a gig yesterday in New Jersey with Dee Dee Jackson, who's
the Dee Dees have it.
The
No,
Dee
I'm
Dees.
just kidding.
Dee Dee Jackson is one of the great jazz pianists out there who performs with, I'll just say some names who are important to me, David Murray and people like that. These are some of the towering contemporary artists in jazz, and there I was with Dee Dee doing a gig, and as colleagues, and to me that is just like an unbelievable treasure. It's so rich to have that kind of aliveness and playfulness, and to deliver that to people. So, yeah, it's been a great ride.
Yeah, that's kind of like most people have on a bucket list to do what you're doing for a living, for your life. It'd be like if I could just steal away from my full-time job and just live my life enjoying my artistry and sharing it with other people. Do you see it like that?
I do. On the other hand, I wish I had a retirement plan and some benefits, I gotta say. So, the grass is always greener. But
Sure.
I've made this choice, and it's been great. My children are doing well. They graduated from school. They're artists themselves. Everybody's healthy and happy, and somehow the journey's there.
You couldn't ask for more, right? Hey, and then the other thing about you, as we mentioned in our open, your love for children. Having worked in New York for 8 seasons directly with children and that sort of thing, and then the music therapy with children, you seem to be very rooted in the what you can bring into a child's life positively, especially with performing arts.
That's really my mission.
Very good.
Hats off to the teachers who show up every day and do 6 to 7 hours of classroom work. Wow. I did that a little. The energy and dedication that it takes to sustain that kind of creativity. My mission, I was born at the time in the late 60s when, I was born in the 50s, but in the 60s, I'm watching civil rights, women's movement, I'm watching the Vietnam War, I'm watching body bags come back. There's, all those things instigated the need to do something. And I found my need fulfilled in working with children. And what I hope to do is to bring the fullest expression of creativity and beauty, wonder, joy, and imagination to young people, because I think, and this is not my original thought, it comes from one of my teachers, Maxine Green, that a liberated imagination is what's needed to create a healthy society. When a child's mind is fiercely imaginative and open and critical, that child is not going to be coerced, manipulated, and shunted into roles that are laid on the kid. So I'm trying to do my piece of that. I try and bring the greatest, most powerful musicians to the stage live for young people. Tell a beautiful story with all my might. I leave the stage, I'm dripping in sweat. But you can give me 1,000 kids and you can hear a pin drop, because our dedication, me and my collaborators, our dedication is to that. And so I feel really fortunate to have found that mission and to have had the opportunity to fulfill it.
That's really good. Some of the programs that we're going to just show snippets here on the Aware Show, The Bride Frog, and
Frog Bride.
The Frog Bride and Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
You have others, I'm sure, in your repertoire, but we're going to show these.
Okay.
What were you hoping that children would walk away from before we
The
show
Frog
those?
Bride, that's the one we got this lovely recognition for with the Drama Desk. Great Russian fairy tale. I wanted to have fantastic Russian music, and I found the music of Prokofiev, the brilliant Russian composer. And then I wanted a visual world, and I partnered with the Guggenheim Museum in New York, who allowed me access to their collection of the great Russian-born painter Kandinsky. And I worked with my team over a number of years. Really, I can tell you, probably 1,000 hours to create 1 hour of theater for children that brings those elements together. And in fact, I'm doing that show very soon at a festival in Cleveland and all around the country. It still goes on.
Why The Frog Bride?
The story is about a boy who marries a frog. His brothers marry princesses. He ends up marrying a frog and hates it. In fact, the frog just reveals herself to have beauty, and she turns into this beautiful princess. He burns the frog's skin. She disappears. He goes on a journey to find it again. How many times do we diminish our creativity? How many times do we not accept part of ourself? Because this is not about frogs and brides. This is about the human psyche and psychology. Marrying the frog is the sense of having a connection to, or discovering a connection to something unique, powerful, transformative, which maybe no one else in the world will understand. But there it is.
And don't go changing it.
Don't go changing it. But he does, and then we all do. And so then it's a journey, and you have to reclaim that source of spiritual, artistic, psychological strength. This is not me talking. This is rooted in Jungian psychology and great thinkers. This is a tradition and Joseph Campbell, where myths are not just stories, entertainments. These are, in a sense, a kind of universal scripture, where there's embedded in these stories tremendous wisdom that needs to be discovered. I present the story. I'm not telling anybody what to think about it. I mean, I just did, in a sense. But children, I'm not telling them what it means.
Right.
Here's the experience.
Once there was a queen. Once there was a king. Once there was a love as sweet as a dove.
Once there was a fairy rejected and scorned, as if she had never ever been born, and forgot about the curse that had been foretold. The spell that befell them was mighty, all right. Snoring commenced then for a long, long, long night.
Once there was a king whose land was so vast that upon a fast horse it would take you 5 days to reach the end of it. And from it carve a bow and an arrow. Shoot your arrow into the air, and whoever returns it to you shall be your bride. Suddenly, out of the water appears a little green head. Frog's mouth is Yvonne's arrow. So, what are you gonna wear, frog face? Duh.
Those with sleep, let's just go back with Sleeping Beauty. What is the premise behind that for children?
Sleeping Beauty is an unusual story in that it doesn't have a lot of bones to it. So there's this princess, this spell is cast upon her, she falls asleep, a prince comes, kisses her, happy ever after. There's nothing there. It's a very unusual story in how empty it is, but it's not really. Because we're familiar with the Sleeping Beauty that was done by Disney, where it's been really cleared out. I did research and found many old versions of the story where there was lots and lots of other details. A. B, I wanted to give the princess a backstory. Why? Who is she? Why is she doing this? And who is the prince anyway? What motivates him? And finally, at the end of my version of the story, he says, I kissed you, then you woke. She says, I woke, then you kissed me. So I made a version of it that empowered, I wanted to do something that empowered the feminine. It's not a big feminist piece, but the princess has strength and character. She's defined. Her talents are very on display. She's ferocious, she's generous, she's beautiful, but she's also determined and all these other qualities. And I chose some of the most beautiful music I know, which is Johann Sebastian Bach's Goldberg Variations for the piano. And my longtime collaborator, Daniel Kelly, plays 4 of the Bach Goldberg Variations in the piece and then wrote music. Almost 500,000 children have heard that music. That is medicine.
Yes.
That's mind medicine. So to me, that's one of our great accomplishments. And The Frog Bride, the music is of Prokofiev, and about 500,000 children have heard this music. And if there's one thing I'm proud of, it's that we've created vehicles for young minds to be fed some of the world's greatest music ever. The curative power of music, the inspirational power of music, the modeling that great music will do of possibility. You listen to Bach, you go, well, I didn't know humans could do that. You know? And you go, and this is the world you're born into, young person. I don't have to explain it to you. I don't have to teach you about it. This is the world you are born into. But you got to create a setting where they can really hear it. Not you have to learn about this. Here is an art experience. And the beauty unfolds. There's a lot of jokes, a lot of comedy, there's a story, but we set it up so there are places where the music is alive and the young people take it in. It's like, it's medicine. It's heart medicine. It's soul medicine. It's a medicine for the mind and the imagination. And when I say medicine, I mean deeply powerful influences, powerful forces, good forces, you know?
Now that we're able to see what you're putting into these, that makes them even more extraordinary. Just want you to know, as I'm just talking to you now, I think back, because I've seen them and I know what's all there, and they're like amazing to me, that someone is able to tell these stories and do it the way you do it, bringing it kind of out of a page and from your heart and just to the screen with the video, and then also in your storytelling through the way you project with your body and your expressions and your words and everything. Very easy for a child to get and grasp and hear the story and be interested. Sometimes it can be difficult for a child to hold on to a story.
Well, you know, it's in the details, as you know. Excellence is in the details. And so when we worked on Sleeping Beauty, we worked on it for 2 years before we brought it in front of children. And then we went back and worked on it for another 6 or 8 months, because the attention of a child is a delicate thing. How do you get a kid to sit for 50 minutes? Oh, by the way, it's done in rhymed verse. The whole thing is done in rhyme. So I gotta tell you, my team, my director, my designers, we work and work and work so that in the theater we use the word beat, that is every sort of point along the story is thought through. It's the way an athlete will really analyze and work, and then the game goes on, and you've done all the preparation, and everything is ready to go. So, I mean, it's not exactly the same, but there's something about that kind of fine attention to detail.
I must say, The Frog Bride, my favorite. It's riveting. No, seriously. I want to say this. The New York Times says about this guy, it says, they say they describe The Frog Bride as absorbing, funny, and suspenseful. It is in the great tradition of storytelling and enchanting. Hats off to you and bravo.
Thank you.
And you've received a number of awards and that sort of thing. Tell us about some of the awards that you've gotten for these and what that means to someone who may be allayed to performing arts.
Okay, well, the Drama Desk is, you know, the Tony Awards. I mean, you know, the Academy Awards. That's for film. The Golden Globes are for film by the critics. In theater, we have the Tony Awards for Broadway. We have the Drama Desk is by the theater critics. And I didn't win a Drama Desk, but I was nominated, which is quite an honor for this kind of eccentric, off-the-wall kind of thing that I do. That was one. The other thing that I'm very proud of is being recognized by my peers. There's an organization called the International Performing Arts for Youth, and it truly is an international organization of people who are dedicated to making quality work for young people. And a few years ago, I got the Lifetime Achievement Award from my peers, people who I deeply respect. That was a good one.
And that's for sustained excellence. That's a really big.
I know, it makes you feel old, but it's true.
That means you've been consistent.
Thank you.
And you've sustained it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was a good one. I don't know. I mean, it's just been a lot of stuff.
Could
The
go on and
awards. They're sweet moments. They do mean something. But you know, it's. I did a gig many years ago. A guy who was a vaudevillian, and he had the same 7-minute act with his dogs, doing the same thing for 40 years. I can't imagine. I want to make new stuff all the time. And I've had great successes. I have created fiascos. It's not been a straight arrow. Yeah. You know, I've had some, I did a project at the Kennedy Center a number of years ago, autobiographical piece about my dad, and I worked really hard on it, and it just didn't come together, So not that you don't know, but some things just don't click, and some things do. And so, yeah, awards, laurels, but for me, I'm looking, what's happening now? You know, what's happening now? Right now, in my world, politically and artistically, there's a sense of outrage and things, stories that need to be told of a different quality. So the new show I'm working on is about a boy who kind of sings truth to power.
Okay.
And it's a really fascinating story in our times because there's a lot of parallels, in my opinion, about what's going on in our world. So I'm trying to find ways to continue to create and not sit back and be the guy with the 40 years with the dogs, you know, to keep looking forward to making new stuff.
I know you just want to push the awards piece beside everything, but I got to go back here because for Sleeping Beauty, it was commissioned by the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, Brooklyn College, and the McCollum Theater. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
And going back, I want to mention too that you were named a fellow of the Joseph Campbell Foundation and was nominated, as you mentioned, for the Drama Desk Award for Unique Theatrical Experience with The Frog Bride. So, I mean, we're just people, if you don't know about the theatrical life and that sort of thing, then you won't understand all of this. But the reason why we're making a big deal of it is because we understand that what you're doing and what your accomplishments are, even with your awards, are very much to be made aware of.
Thank you.
And to bring you in and to have you here on the show.
You mentioned the Joseph Campbell Foundation.
Yes.
Joseph Campbell, probably many of your listeners know who he was because his videos of the power of myth were often, or at least in New York, are often used in fundraising for PBS. There were interviews that this great mythologist did with George Lucas, with Bill Moyers. Anyway, Joseph Campbell, to be honored by that was a big deal for me because Joseph Campbell is one of the great storytellers and thinkers about the power of story and myth in the world, and to be involved with those folks was really, really something.
I think something is you having on your resume being a cultural ambassador to the U.S. State Department. What does that mean? Tell us. We would like to know more.
Well, there's a story there. I don't know how I won't tell you. I'll try and tell it quickly.
Okay.
The Kennedy Center commissioned me to write a piece, and I want to write a piece about my heritage, particularly about my dad. And my dad was Cuban-American, born in Cuba, and my dad worked for the Central Intelligence Agency. And in this play, I talk about him and his work. And one day, I'm in New York, getting ready to go to Washington to rehearse, and I get a call from the State Department. I'm like, uh-oh.
What have
I done now? I'm in trouble now. Anyway, long story. They had seen the press release on the piece and asked me to come in because they were looking for folks to share the talent pool of American artists out in the world. And so they sent me to a few places in Europe, to Malta, to Spain, where I told stories connected to the embassies and the consulates, and sort of as an American artist brought out to sort of share the love, and it was wonderful. Tremendous experience, actually.
You also co-wrote Mariel, where has actually featured a young man who wrote a book about the Mariel boat lift.
Oh, really?
But you actually wrote a play.
Yeah.
And you won Macy's new Play Prize for young audiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was really a beautiful piece, too. That I wrote with a wonderful composer named John Forster. And it's about an interracial teenage couple that meets on the boat from Mariel, Cuba, landing in Miami, right at the time of, during that whole episode. And it's kind of like star-crossed lovers, like a Romeo and Juliet thing. But it's, anyways, beautiful, difficult piece. They barely make it at the end. So it's one of those things where they, and it tells the story of the boat lift and the families and all, trying to address some of the issues around why people would leave, why people would stay, what it meant for Cubans here in the States to receive relatives who hadn't come, and some of the issues of immigration in general. And John Forster wrote a tremendous score. Yes, it was a fantastic piece.
And you did pretty much the same in dealing with social issues, I guess, with what you did with Double Crossed, yeah, in talking about
Yes.
the Holocaust.
Well, interesting, because I started telling stories, fables and fairy tales and myths, and there's a chunk of my career where I really got into telling real life stories, and Marielle was one. I did a piece on the Underground Railroad, and I did a piece on the commissioned by the Smithsonian to tell a story about the Holocaust. And I found this story of Double Crossed. There was a boat called the St. Louis. Some of your viewers would know this. It was a Jewish refugee boat that left Hamburg, Germany in 1939, 900 passengers heading toward Cuba, and were turned away. And were turned away and turned away and turned away by many other countries, including the United States. That boat ended up going back to Europe, and half of those passengers ended up dying in the death camps of the Holocaust. I told that story because I was at the Holocaust Museum, and I saw pictures of Cuba. I'm like, why is that there? And especially the big spray, the water of the Malecón, the Great Wall in Havana, where the sea comes up. It's just a typical shot. There are baby pictures of me in that place. I'm in the Holocaust Museum, and there it is. So I took a year to write that piece, multi-character play. I played all the characters, about a man who's journeying sort of in the lead, and he's hoping to bring his family, and we follow his journey and meet all the characters throughout. It was a labor of love, and it was very rewarding to do that piece.
We're going to show a little snippet again of that here on the O'Rear Show. Double Crossed.
Glass. Fire. Nazis. Jew! Escape. Running. Hiding.
Jews from all parts of the Reich are liquidating their properties accumulated in Germany for generations and are drifting to Hamburg, the harbor city, where they will set out on German steamers for a new life across the sea. Some of them are leaving voluntarily after having been deprived of their most valuable possessions. Others are leaving under compulsion. But no one is permitted to take out more than the usual 10 marks in cash, for which the currency regulations of the country provide. And so, over 900 of these unfortunate people, all with visas for Cuba and many with quota numbers for the United States, leave Hamburg and the St. Louis, happy in anticipation of a new life far from Germany, where their experiences under the Nazi regime will only be a sad dream.
People are going on board. They're climbing the gangplank. For days I've watched this ship looking for a sign to tell me not to go, but there's been none. I will go to. Everything on board this ship is so different. And this cabin, it's so clean, spotless. Towels, linens on the bed. 9 days I've slept with the hides of slaughtered beasts. Now I'm here, on this ship. I can breathe again.
The St. Louis was a luxury ocean liner equipped with the finest of European engineering and style. Once underway, the passengers relaxed, enjoyed the freedom of the sea and the joys of travel on a first-class vessel. A live orchestra played the hits of the day, and many people, filled with a sense of relief and adventure, danced.
It's starting. Hey, turn it off. Hey, you, turn it off. Turn it off. Hans, stay here. I'm going to have a word with Captain Schroeder. The shipping line has ordered me to change course, to take a more direct route to Cuba. Here we are plunging headlong into rough seas unnecessarily. The ship bobs and sways so much that the passengers are sick, and so am I. Why won't they explain the rush? And what did they mean when they said the situation at Havana was fluid? Something's going on. I know it. Something is going on. I want to be free. Do you understand? I want to be free. We can't go back to Germany. I can't go back to Germany. This ship was my last hope. Those lights in Havana are fading. I can't go back to Germany, you understand? I will never go back to Germany. I would rather die. Hey, Captain, the situation is desperate. The suicide. People are talking about throwing themselves overboard. Captain, look, we need a plan, Captain. We must have a plan. I just pray that America will take us in. They have to. The Americans, they're the ones who carved that poem into the Statue of Liberty. How was it? Give me your tired, your poor. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse from your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, the tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Captain, how could America not take us in?
We, the undersigned passengers of the Hamburg America line ship St. Louis, hereby declare that, whereas we have been denied our right
members of the
to
passenger
entry to
committee,
Cuba.
I want to inform you of a decision I have made. I am well aware of the anxiety that the passengers feel about returning to Germany. I have read the suicide pact, and I have a plan which I believe can
The
keep you and your
907
people from
passengers
returning
of
to
St.
German
Louis
territory.
dangling for the last 13 days between hope and despair received today your liberating message of the 13th June that final arrangements for all passengers have at last been reached. Stop. Our gratitude is as immense as the ocean on which we are now floating since May 13th, first full of hope for a good future, and afterwards in the deepest despair. Stop. Accept, Mr. Chairman, for you and the American Joint Distribution Committee, and last but not least for the governments of Belgium, Holland, France, and England, the deepest and eternal thanks of men, women, and children, united by the same fate on board the St. Louis.
You use a lot of archival footage in there. And how many characters did you actually play?
There's about 9 characters in there. One of the hardest things doing in that piece was actually going through all this footage, Holocaust imagery. Brandeis University has a tremendous trove. And one of the highlights in my career was doing that piece, first at the Smithsonian, but then at the actual Holocaust Museum. I have to say, it's quite a shock to see, that was about 18, 20, I was thin and young once. Thank you, that was lovely to see. I hadn't seen that actually in quite a long time.
Well, it looks great. And I hope our viewers will get a chance to check it out up close, personal one day, because it's worth it.
Thank you.
It really looks good. David, I want to talk to you a little bit now about what you do in terms of the Latino community with Chrysalida.
Yeah. Let me just, it's an odd word. The word is, it's actually chrysalis is the English, chrysalida in Spanish. So it's that transformation from worm or caterpillar into butterfly. And I chose that word for the project because art does transform. It's Chrysalida Community Arts Project, transformation of communities through the arts. And it began with a very generous grant from the James Irvine Foundation in Southern California. And I worked with 5 farm worker communities where we Gosh, I was able to employ about 9 different community artists. We published 8 books, 5 books of poetry by first-time women writers. We published, we started a bilingual theater company. We did 340 arts workshops. It was a 2-year project which was thrilling, and it was connected with the McCallum Theater. And as a result of that, I've launched something called Chrysalida Communications, where now I'm trying to replicate that project in other towns where there is a large community population, Latino population. A lot of times, the performing arts centers and large cultural institutions need help reaching out to these underserved communities, particularly if there's a language barrier. I am fluent in Spanish. And so with my arts background and the Spanish and my therapy work and these stories, somehow it comes together. Chrysalida is something I'm really looking forward to developing in the future. It gives me great pleasure at this time in my life to mentor young artists in being community teaching artists and community activists for them, for their own communities through the arts. So in that capacity, I'm really envisioning how arts can affect broader communities and using local artists to help shape that. So that's a new and exciting part of my life. Mm-hmm. I'm at the point now where mentoring is a thrill. I bet you get to do that sometimes too. It's just a joy.
I bet. And you get to touch so many children's lives who've actually seen, you know, the videos and the things. And when you go out and you do your some of the shows that I won't say the entirety of them, but some of the little snippets you're able to share with the kids. And their eyes are lighting up on video right then and there. So I can only imagine you actually being there and having that happen to you.
It's a thrill. I mean, you know, I have done a little bit of television. I avoided film. Waiting to do your little part of, I don't have the patience. Theater, it's like, here we go. We're on.
Lights, camera,
you're just going, and you do that
Live.
every day, I bet. So you know that sense of the moment and being on point and in front of, you know, I see audiences up to 2,000 children sometimes. Sometimes it's 300. But it's a precious opportunity, and I try to really just to give my all, because for a lot of these kids, it's the first time they've ever been to an arts experience, a live theater experience. And I want them to keep coming back. The power of theater, the power of art is profound. It's really useful. And I just take it really seriously. And I have a lot of fun doing it. And I take it very seriously.
And you do take it very seriously. And we're so glad on behalf of the Hispanic, even though I'm African American, just the fact that you embrace all the cultures in every way that you can, especially your own. Let's take a look at some of the video now from this Chrysalida involvement.
There's a story about a monkey that wants to eat bananas, and he climbs on top of the cocodrilo to take the cocodrilo takes him over to the bananas because it's over a river. So that's so fun. If I'm taking him to go back and do a lot of things with it, and he talks and and the audience, I have to translate. He says, "Por favor, llévame al otro lado. Please take me to the other side." "De acuerdo." And the audience says, "Fine." And also the story, they do that.
I like storytelling, or listening to storytelling, because it makes me use my imagination, and I like that part of it. Frog says, "I'm a white-mouthed frog. I eat flies all day long. What do you eat?" Alligator says, "I eat white-mouthed frogs."
It's putting happy thoughts with one another and sharing, and it's interesting.
I loved storytelling because it captivates so much of people's emotions, and it just enlightens people when they hear different stories. I just enjoy telling stories to people or listening to other people's stories, because I think it's so important to listen. And when you listen, that's a story right there.
That was sweet. When you listen, that's a story right there. What we saw there was that was filmed at a senior center in one of the towns. That wasn't exactly emblematic of what we did, but one of the things we did do was do outreach to senior communities. It just wasn't for kids. And that woman who you saw at the beginning with the puppets, that's Olga Loya, one of the artists, a Mexican-American artist, who we brought in, and she did a week-long residency. And so what we saw there was some of the folks who had been in there with her.
But that goes back to what I was saying about what you do to work with everybody. I mean, I don't think there's an audience that you haven't done something in your performing arts to address that audience. I mean, you're pretty much all over the place.
I love that. I love having, one day it's this and one day it's that, and it's changing. And every once in a while, I like to sit down and just do the same thing for a week or two. But mostly, if I look at my calendar for the month, it's just all over the place. It's kind of nuts, but I'm really used to it and really enjoy it.
I love the fact that the lives you bring on stage might be different, but the way you present them and the stories you tell make them all the same.
You just said the right thing.
Well, good.
Well, diversity is, we must pay attention to diversity.
Absolutely.
And we must pay attention to our shared humanity.
Okay.
And they are not exclusive. It's important to know what's what and who's where. But at the end of the day, I always say this, love is love. And once we arrive to a place where we can find respect, make space for one another, through our stories and through our listening, then we could arrive at love.
And that's the universal end. And that's where we end.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, some people come into your life and you're just forever changed. And as you can see, Dr. David Gonzalez is certainly one of those people. He's a multi-talented artist whose gift of storytelling bridges cultures, humanity, and heals the soul. His innovative productions, combining drama, music, and multimedia, enchant audiences with stories of love, hope, courage, and wisdom. And if you're lucky, you'll get to experience a showcase of rich Hispanic culture as seen through David's poetry, his stories, and his songs. I wish we had more time with him. His presentations move from ancient myths, personal sagas, into his own compelling poetry of a Latino determined to shape an authentic identity and a creative life. A born communicator, David offers a fresh vision of Latino culture that is rooted in soulful storytelling, poetic expression, and imagination. So run, don't walk. Do yourself some good and catch his latest and his next performance whenever you can. This has been an Aware Profile. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Dee Dee Sharp saying, until next time, stay informed and stay aware.